Hello. Sorry, we're going to proceed here, okay? Thank you very much. First, we would respectfully acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the unceded ancestral territory of the Silks Okanagan peoples and the Splatseen of the Secwepemc Nation. Tonight, we're here for the official community plan bylaw number 1932-2024 public input session. And first of all, I am going to read this long procedural legal document to everybody watching and or listening. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to section 464 of the Local Government Act to consider the official community plan bylaw number 1932-2024. Council has given 2 readings to this bylaw and directed that this public hearing be held. The Official Government Act requires council to hold a public hearing before adopting or amending an official community plan bylaw. The purpose of this hearing is to allow the public to make representations to council respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaw. The order of business for this hearing is as follows. Staff will give a summary of the proposed bylaw. Written submissions received before the deadline will be read into the record by staff. Note that any submissions received prior to the agenda being published were included in the public agenda. C, presentations from the public regarding the proposal. Questions to council, questions of council to the public, and then adjournment. This hearing gives the opportunity for all persons who believe that their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaw to make that view known to council members who are here with an open mind to listen to your input. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. Council will not debate the merits of the proposed bylaw with individual citizens during this hearing. When you speak, please state your full name and the physical address for the public record. Keep your presentation concise as possible, please. We ask that the audience remain respectful of each other, not interrupting others, whether in favor or opposed to another's opinion. Please do not clap, boo, cheer, or otherwise disrupt the presentation being made. The chair reserves the right to conclude any presentation that becomes abusive. If anyone wishes to provide a written submission for the record, it must be handed to the corporate officer, Chantel Weiss, in the back of the room prior to the close of the hearing, and council is not able to receive further information from the public on the matter after the hearing closes. Following this hearing, the proposed bylaw will be further considered at a future meeting and may be adopted or defeated. If new information is received, a second public hearing may be scheduled. Thank you for your patience with that. And moving along, I'm going to ask Ms. Lori Cordell, Manager of Planning Services, to come up and do a presentation for us.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, members of council, and community members. This is near the end of a long process that we've undertaken on the official community plan. So I'm excited to be here and highlight a little bit of the official community plan and move us into the public hearing. Okay. So an official community plan is a statement of objectives and policies that guide decisions on planning and land use management within the area covered by the plan, respecting the purposes of local government. So for the city of Armstrong, it covers our whole geographic boundaries. The Local Government Act prescribes certain things that must be included in the official community plan, including location, type, density of housing, location of commercial, industrial, institutional, agricultural, recreational, and public land uses, location of any sand or gravel deposits, hazardous conditions or environmental conditions, location and phasing of roads, sewer, and water, public facilities, including schools, parks, waste treatment or disposal sites, and then anything, of course, that the minister decides. It also has to include housing policies of the local government respecting affordable housing, rental housing, and special needs housing. And it must include targets for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in the area covered by the plan and the policies and actions that we will undertake with respect to achieving those targets. The housing policies have been updated by the provincial government to also include our new housing needs assessment, which has been integrated as well. So just for background, the current OCP that we've been working under was adopted in 2014. Usually we have an OCP update every 5 years. And in fact, this one was started at that time frame, but due to COVID, didn't really move forward. The province has provided these mandatory updates to include the new housing needs assessment by December this year. And we need to update the OCP to align with the new zoning bylaw, which was adopted in June of 2024 at the direction of the provincial government. We have done quite a bit of engagement on the official community plan. So it was 18 months in development. We had surveys, we had pop-ups, we had all the schools participating in the process. We had key partner organizations come to workshops, and then we had 5 open houses throughout the process. So lots of opportunities to get people's feedback, lots of changes based on the community feedback that brought us to this final version. Council gave first reading on the official community plan on December, and we sent it out for referrals January 2nd. It went to sort of the legislated and regular referral agencies, and we received some responses from these agencies that are listed: the RDNO, Spalmsheen, Splatsheen, the Agricultural Land Commission, BC Transit, and the Okanagan Collaborative Conservation Program. Based on those responses, we made some changes to the plan. So we added our land acknowledgement and our general acknowledgements, some minor corrections, some wording refinement to address some of the comments, a future citywide archaeological overview assessment, some wildlife corridor mapping, and then some additional refinement that council provided at the June 16th meeting. So a little more broadly, our official community plan specifically talks about our local and regional context, the vision we have for our future, how we're going to manage growth, what our community development priorities will be, how we're going to manage our what our environmental priorities are and how we're going to manage it, what are our infrastructure priorities and how we're going to get there. It also includes development approval information requirements, which allow us to ask for additional information at development permit or subdivision process. And it includes development permit areas for intensive residential, downtown mixed use, commercial, industrial, and then environmental and hazard development permit areas. And it has a small section on implementation, as well as including some of the land use maps that are at the end with a summary of the process. Oh, I don't know what happened there, Chantel. One more. So, yeah, the plan was given second reading as amended on June 16th. The public hearing was set by council for tonight. After the public hearing, the plan can be amended if required or brought forward as is with the public hearing report for consideration of third reading and adoption at the August 11th, 2025 regular meeting. And I think that's all I have for my presentation, Your Worship.
Thank you, Ms. Cordell. So we did receive one written submission from Jill De La Salle, and it was attached, as I mentioned earlier, in the minutes of this meeting. And so at this point in time, I'll ask Ms. Cordell if there was any further written submissions received after that.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have not received any additional written submissions.
Thank you, Ms. Cordell. And then next, the floor is open to whoever would like to speak or has a question or something we can address. What I ask once again is that you provide your full name and your address. You approach the mic up here because everything is being recorded and broadcast as we always do with our council meetings. And turn the mic on with the red button in front. So if anybody has anything to say, now is your opportunity. And please feel free to come and do so. Are we just being shy or? No, we're all good. I'll offer that one more time. If anybody has any public comments, I'll allow that to take place now. Seeing as there is none, I will now see if there is any comments online or electronically. Ms. Cordell?
Thank you, Your Worship. We didn't receive any requests to participate electronically.
Well, this is going to be one short meeting then. Unless any members of the public, Councillor Fowler, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The letter that was received from Ms. De La Salle, do we have any comments on that or any explanations or?
I'll let Mr. CEO address that for us. Thank you.
Through Your Worship to Councillor Fowler. So the concern, I guess, just for everyone that was highlighted in the letter was that we have some areas of wetland that are designated within the OCP for residential development. Those lands are, they were currently in the old OCP for medium density, and we've reduced the density in the new OCP. But if we are to take away any development potential, the city has to be prepared to purchase those lands. So we've left some development potential on them, but with the environmental and the hazard development permit areas, it puts in some fairly stringent restrictions to development that would have to be developed in concert with a qualified environmental professional and a geotechnical engineer to make sure that they were safe. So looking at those lands without those reports, of course, it's hard to say exactly what would be developable, but I think there wouldn't be a lot of development potential on those lands, even though they're designated for that.
Maybe I should know the answer to this, but I don't. So she's the only one who had put in a letter and the only one from the public had comment. Will we respond to her letter, acknowledge it and have some kind of a explanation?
Thank you, Your Worship, through to Councillor Fowler. Normally, when you have a public hearing, there isn't a response given to the information. It's received as a matter of public record. As a side, there was a communication from Ms. De La Salle previously that I did respond to along the same lines that explained, similar to what Ms. Cordell just did, that there are appropriate protections and provisions within the OCP should somebody come forward with a development proposal that they would have to meet before it could happen. And we have those requirements clearly laid out in the OCP. So
I guess to be fair, I didn't ask council. Didn't even anybody from council have any comments that they wanted to make. Thank you, Councillor Drapla.
Thank you. Just along the same lines as Councillor Fowler, I think what makes me feel good about our current restrictions in the OCP is the pairing up with the mapping work that we've done. And so I like to see that we have the wildlife corridors and we have our flood mapping and we have our ecologically sensitive areas. So all those paired together, I think will do a good job of informing future development on those lands.
Thank you, Councillor Drapla. And I will, for a third opportunity, ask if anybody from the floor wants to speak. And seeing nobody moving, then I will move for adjournment, that the July 21st, 2025 public hearing be adjourned. Mover, Councillor Todd, thank you. Second, Councillor Velstar. All those in favor? Carried unanimously, and we will be adjourned at 5:15 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for attending.